It is safe to say that archetype-specific support are the most important type of support in any TCG, as not only it actually improves upon the performance of the deck, it also usually directly fixes some of the issue that the deck has. And the same can be said with Vanguard, as there are a lot of great archetype support cards that actually improve the performance of the deck, and there are a lot of bad ones as well. But today we're gonna be focused on the good. Of course, there's a few judging criteria here, and for one in this list, I'm not gonna be including any upgrade version of the boss unit, as I feel like that is a little bit of a cheating, and those group of units deserve its own video. And secondly, some of this entry might be a little bit weird because, you know, these decks are not top, but I consider this to be in the list because of how much it improved the performance of the deck, or this support is actually the missing puzzle that certain decks are missing for the longest time. Starting off with number 10, we have the unit from an archetype that kind of define the name of the format, Overdress, and that is Mirror Reflection equipped Miller's Variana. It is safe to say that our Queen of Chicken Jiva is easily one of the most resource intensive deck in the game, as there is a lot of cards that you use relatively regularly and require a counter blast. But for the longest time, this deck doesn't have any counter charger at all until Mirrors drop, and Mirrors is the best counter charger the deck could ask for, and it is capable of counter charging up to 2 counter charge, or essentially give you free draw every time it attacks. And it is safe to say that Jiva became playable the moment Mirror's Variana and also its Prayer Dragon counterpart, Gil's Mirror, was released. But of course, Stra is the one that, you know, make the deck competitive, but I do think Mirrors has a more part to play in the deck more so than Stra. And the only reason why I'm putting it so low in this list is because of the fact that this card is not a solo player, it needs a partner, and that is Gil's Mirror, as you do need Gil's Mirror to help you to mill a bunch of Variana into your drop zone to build up your bullets for this card skill to work. Number 9, we have, I would say, an unusual unit to put here, and that is Scintillate Race Ophilia. For those who don't know who this card is, it's essentially a unit that actually supports Willistar even when Willistar was bad, as this card can easily restand itself, return any card back to deck, and also capable of hitting a very solid number on turn 3.
Hey! That's pretty good.
This utility of hers was vastly improved and also highlight, especially when Willistar gets the Prismita Magica version of herself, which turned the deck into easily one of the strongest decks during the Gandiva format. And the fact that the deck is capable of fighting toe-to-toe with Gandiva at its peak is a testament of how important of a crux this card is as an attacker of the deck. The only reason why I'm not putting any higher is because of the fact that I feel there are cards that support the deck better, and also Willistar unfortunately has kind of fallen off the meta since then. Then we move on to number 8, a very dark horse entry in this list, Galactic Bemas. Amazdania. Amazdania is definitely an unusual choice for a lot of people, but for me it is easily one of the most important pieces for B Hero, as it turned B Hero from a really bad deck into a very solid rush deck due to her ability to be able to search a base card and set it immediately. It allowed the deck to be able to set up to 3 base cards by turn 2 with the help of another B Hero. And the more base card you play with in a single instances, this also means that there is a higher chance for you to filter out up to 3 cards out of your deck per activation of base card. This means that Amazdania enable hero deck to be able to amass up to 9 cards filter within turn 2, and because of that, I feel it deserves to be mentioned. And as a cherry on top, it also helps you to extend into other B hero with her own skill, which also does help you to play into more resource-based parts of the deck by calling cards like Varna to reset the base for the deck defensive turn. And the only reason why I did not put it any higher is because of the fact that unfortunately B hero was not being featured or heavily played in any tournament at all. Moving on to number 7, another unusual entry, but I would say this is easily one of the best archetype support you can ever receive, and it supported so many decks. Red Eye of Governing Ruler Lindel here. For those who don't know what Lindel here does, it essentially allow you to superior call a Great 3 or race card from your deck and allow you to bind 1 trigger from your drop zone while still being a 20k beater when you have 2 or more trigger cards in your bind zone. What this card essentially do is it gives a mass archetype ability to filter and get the key pieces that it needed to. And for purely that reason, it is in this list. And the only reason why I'm not putting it any higher, for one, it locked too much, which does kind of prevent some of the combo for certain deck. And for two, it's only good for 2 out of 4 mask deck that we know at the moment.
Disappointed!
Then we have number 6, Dragreater Haube. I decided to put this entry in because of how long Dote was in the meta because of this card. Dote, in my opinion, is a very awkward card to play due to huge cost, on top of the fact that you need a very specific unit to be in soul to activate the skill. Yes, there is card like Elder Hachette that kind of fixed the issue already, but I do feel that Haube was a savior of the deck, as it helped to turn a heavy cost of this deck into easily one of the freest cost in the deck, as Haube considers itself to discard and also can turn itself into a free body as you discard it. And I can safely say Haube was a reason why Overlord has been in the meta for a long while, even if it is not a top deck, and that is the reason why I'm putting it at number 6, as it helps the deck to be in the meta, but unfortunately it doesn't push the deck enough to be top of the meta that it managed to peak. Moving on to number 5, we have Roaming Prison Dragon. As some people might say this is a generic card, but let's be real here. This card can only be fully utilized if you are Magic, aka Soga. And it is safe to say it is one of the most free generic resource card that Stoicher can get. And for Soga, one of the best attacker he can get. This card auto get a crit for himself, even if he is a 5k base unit. And combining with cards like Zoga Mask, Q Silvering, and Cloud Miasma, this card became easily one of the most influential attacker in Soga deck.
Synergy.
The only reason why it stay at number 5 is purely for one reason. It has to be milk, and depend on your luck, you might not be able to milk it early, and that can actually affect the way the card can help the deck. Then move on to number 4, we have Operate Master Fry Heist. I know this is another kind of generic card, but let's be real here, this card literally redefined how you play Velstra. Velstra on launch was easily one of the most awkward deck to play due to the fact that you have to put so much resources to actually set up maximum into the order zone. And this card literally just make it like it was nothing. And not only that, it helped you to search for any personal right card, not only keeping it relevancy for a long time, it also redefined what Velstra played because his ability to allow you to play any product card from hand afterwards, and also ability to activate product mid-battle as well. The only reason that he is in number 4 to me is because of the fact that these top 3 cards just blow this card out of the water when it comes to archetype specific support. Number 3, we have the only card that is archetype specific to be limited or hitting the restriction list, Scarlet Flameo General Sturguna. Some people might say Elvira is in the list also, but Elvira is choice restrict, not limited like this card do. And it is not surprising why Sturguna is being limited. It is the reason why Gandiwa became so relevant for a long while due to his ability to speed up Gandiwa additional crit condition, meanwhile building the bind zone much faster than any other card that Gandiwa has, allowing Gandiwa to be able to hit a really high number at a very small amount of cost. And of course, this card need to be played with base Howes, but I do feel that base Howes just help the deck to sustain longer, but Sturguna is the card that does help you to get a win con for the Gandiwa in the fastest way possible, and that's why I'm willing to put it in number 3. And the reason why it is number 3 is because it of course was limited. Number 2 is, I would say, continue the trend of my disdain toward Full Blast. Let me say this again, Full Blast without this particular grade 1 is unplayable. But of Brave Instrument Corino was the divine, get it? Intervention that Duisburg really need to make Full Blast completely playable. The problem with Full Blast was the fact that it needed all 3 of the pre-exist Rebel Form to actually perform at its best, and Corino was in my opinion, the reason why the deck became playable in the first place due to her easy to trigger skill, as either she need to be discarded either by right deck or by Duisburg skill or being superior call. which is two things that Useberg does a lot. And she straight up search for any role form and allow you to put one card from hand into soul, essentially helping you to set up your full blast before turn 3 and allow full blast to be able to play on turn 3, and is the reason why full blast is in the top deck at the moment. The only reason I'm not putting it at the number 1 on this list because there is one undercard that I feel deserves a spot, and it is a reason why this particular deck has been in the meta for the longest time. And that is result of the experiment henceforth, a grade 1 research order for Eva. Eva on launch in DBT05 was easily one of the worst deck to play among the 5 glitter deck due to the fact that she is so slow and her number doesn't justify obscure extra crit and also ability to sustain in general. But because of this card, this allows Eva to be able to speed up her playstyle from turn 4 deck into turn 3. And it can be safely said that if this card is just a blank research grade 1, it would have been in the list already, but it also helped to protect Obscure from being retired by card effect, the most common way of control in the Overdress at the time, and also it is also work as an emergency counter charger. So because of all these reasons, Eva was able to stay relevant for the longest time from slightly before the DBT06 in the Japan meta all the way until DBT11 when she eventually lose her spot because of how her sustainability no longer can cope with the explosiveness of the power level that certain decks can have, like Gandiva. And that is pretty much my top 10 archetype specific cards. What do you guys think about the list? I'm fully aware there is way too many good support that came out for Overdress for specific archetype, so do leave down in the comments below what are the cards that you feel should have been included in the list. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Take care of yourself, and this is Mac Meganet signing out.